Welcome back to part 3 of our Christmas on the Homestead series, where we're learning how to make small handmade gifts that anyone can easily make for your family, your co-workers, your friends, or your Christmas gift exchange. So today we're going to learn how to make rice bags. Now these rice bags can be used cold or hot. You can either microwave them if you're like me and don't really like microwaves. When we're out on the homestead, if I need a heated bag, I'm going to put it in the oven for a little while. These can be used to soothe aches and pains. They can be used to keep your hands warm if you're going to be outside in the cold, waiting for school buses, or just strolling down the street. You want to keep your hands warm. I know in those cold Michigan winters, there were plenty of times I baked potatoes and put them in my kids' pockets before we went out to parades. So this is a very simple gift. It's only going to take a few minutes to make, and we're starting out with fat quarters. I bought these at Walmart. They're 100% cotton. You want to make sure that you're getting 100% cotton, mostly because synthetics could melt if you overheat them. So all I'm going to do is unfold them. And I thought about getting out my cutting board, my cutting mat, I should say, and my rotary cutter, but the truth is I don't think I need those. Okay. Now, these, they're fat quarters, and you can see the creases in them, and we're just going to cut along the creases. We're going to make a couple of mid-sized bags, but you can also do them smaller for the hand warmers. So let's just go ahead and cut along. These are not folded the same way the individual ones are folded. But let's cut along the line about 1/3 of the way in. And just to show you how easy this is, we don't really need any special equipment that your average person wouldn't have. A pair of scissors, something to sew with. Okay. And we'll cut along this line. And since I'm only going to do one on camera, I'll just go ahead and fold this back up. Now, as long as you know that your fabric is 100% cotton, there is no need to go out and buy new. You could just use scraps. But I don't know what is in my scraps if they're all 100% cotton. So I bought this coordinating set here so I could make lots and lots. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to fold this. I'm not even going to iron it flat. We're going to fold this so that the right sides are together. And we're going to take it over to the sewing machine. And we're going to stitch one short side and the long side. We're going to leave the top open. So come on with me to the sewing machine. I love this sewing machine. It's reminiscent of the one that my grandmother on my dad's side used when I was a child. She didn't use it often, but she would make quilts with it. So we're going to do a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I have this guard here that's set for 5/8 inch, and it's adhesive, so I don't want to take it off just to make myself at 1/2 inch. Eventually I'll take this off and start using a magnetic one, but this is what I had at the time. So I'm going to guesstimate 1/2 inch. And I don't know if you know this about treadle sewing machines, but they do not have a reverse. But the truth is you don't need to reverse to start your stitches. And you just sew along the edge. And when you get close to the edge, there we go. Needle down, lift up, and we're going to turn. So far, so good. Foot back down and stitch. All right. Now we're stopping at about 1/2 inch from the edge, and we're going to turn it around to do that back stitch. And that locks in the end. We're going to clip our threads. All right. Let's go back over to the table. Okay, so now we're back at the table, and before we turn this, we're going to clip the corners. Now, this just makes the corner a little cleaner when you turn it. So you're just going to clip close to the stitching, but not through the stitching. And now, turn it right side out. And I have a special turner, but unfortunately, when we moved everything back down here to the parlor, I sort of just tossed things, and I have no idea where half of my tools are. So, being careful to keep the scissors closed, I'm going to just tuck them in there. See, I have very large hands, so I can't really get my hands in there to do this. I'm just going to use the end of the scissors. I'm going to push gently along that seam until the corner comes out. See that? All right, and the next step is going to be to fill the bag. Now I have here some brown rice, and the truth is, I'm not going to eat this rice. I bought this rice for making dog food, and the price of meat has gone up so high, I can't even afford to buy junk meat for my dogs right now. So I'm not making dog food. I might as well use the rice. And all you need to do is put the rice in the bag. It is so simple. Now, if you want something soothing with a soothing fragrance, you can use lavender, and you could use lavender oil, essential oil. I just happen to have lavender that I grow in my backyard, and so I picked some, I dried it, and I'm just going to throw some of those lavender buds in there. When you heat this, the lavender fragrance is going to come through so well. In fact, just handling it, the fragrance came through. Now you don't want to overfill these bags because you want them, if you have an injury that you're trying to warm or cool, you want this to still be pliable. So there is enough here that it's full enough, and it'll have enough to hold that temperature, but it'll also be pliable enough to kind of wrap around an ankle or a wrist or something like that. So the next step is just turn the edges in and stitch across the top. So I am going to go stitch across the top, and I'll be right back. So I decided to bring you with me after all to stitch this top because I couldn't find any of my pins. Again, sewing supplies all tossed everywhere. But I do have these miniature little clothespins, and they work wonderfully at holding your fabric together. So I wanted you to see, I've used this little miniature clothespin to hold my fabric together, and I am going to stitch this closed. And I'm going to do it very close to the edge. Ooh, got a little piece of rice there interfering with me. And this is another reason that you want to not overfill your bag, is so that you can actually get your fabric underneath the foot of your sewing machine. And I am doing this, I think it is just about 1/8 of an inch, which is the width of the little toe here on the foot. All right, and now I'm going to turn it all the way around, and I am going to stitch a second time right over those first stitches to strengthen that seam. All right, and now do my little back stitch. And there we go. And there you have it. So these rice bags, again, they can be refrigerated, they can be frozen, they can be heated. You can do that in your microwave, or you can heat them in an oven if you don't have a microwave or don't like to use the microwave. I would not recommend putting them in the toaster oven. I think that that's too close of direct heat. But if you know, for example, that you have a cold and you want to place some heat on your forehead to help relieve your sinuses, I would put that in the oven for a few minutes. Don't get it too hot. And then you'd be able to have just some good soothing heat. Now, another thing is I have some menthol crystals that I bought a long time ago for making shower steamers. And instead of placing lavender, if you know that you want to have some just for colds, you could absolutely put some menthol crystals, just a couple of menthol crystals, in with your rice. And I think that when you heat that, it would release enough of the menthol to kind of soothe your sinuses a little bit. So if I were going to make this for a gift, which I am, I would do a set of 2 or 3 with not the exact same fabric, but a coordinating fabric. And then I might also do some that are about half this size for hand warmers to be warmed up and then placed in pockets if somebody's, say, waiting for a school bus or walking to church or going to see a parade. It's much, much better than a potato. Thanks for watching, and Merry Christmas.